What we want to know from you, Mr. Cleverly, is why are the numbers that have crossed the English Channel so far this year up by 43%? Yes, that's right, up by 43% year on year, and you haven't said a dicky bird. Rather than push-ups, David Davis MP suggested you should be focusing on push-backs in the Channel, and I would say you should simply be doing your job. I'm joined by Alp Mehmet, Chairman of Migration Watch. Alp, it's way too early to project what this may mean for the next 6 months or for the rest of the year. What it does show is it's all about the weather, really, isn't it?
Partly, of course, the weather's bound to have something to do with it, but all the weather does is delay, frankly. It doesn't actually stop people coming. We've had this conversation at about this time of year for the last 2 years, at least. And each time we've looked ahead. If it continues at the present rate, I can see 50 to 60,000 coming in that we know about. Add to that those that we don't know about, and we're talking serious numbers. That's what's going to happen this year. And the reason they're doing it, whether has something to do with it, that they come out in the sort of flows that they do, but more importantly, they know, and the traffickers know that when they get here, that's it. They're here to stay. They will keep coming. They will keep coming in ever greater numbers so long as the traffickers find the means to get them here.
Yeah, and the French police, I mean, I've seen pictures today of French police, armed now, French police, because they're so conscious that many of the migrant gangs themselves are now armed. We saw a stabbing that took place just a couple of weeks ago. Some pretty dangerous and violent scenes taking place over there. But I've made this point to the viewers and listeners from the start. However hard the French try, it is virtually impossible to police 100 miles of beaches.
Absolutely, absolutely. And until the EU at its external border starts getting serious about who comes in and how many get in, I'm afraid the numbers are simply going to go up and up and up in the EU. And as that happens...
Through the Mediterranean.
Through the Mediterranean, not just the Mediterranean, overland as well from Turkey. All that will happen is that more and more will end up in the northwest coast of France.
Yeah. Now, the other interesting debate over the weekend, there were some tables put out by the Danish government last week that showed, since 2010, on violent crimes by nationality. And unbelievably, Danish-born was 43rd in the category of those that had committed crime by nationality. Robert Jenrick, having seen this, has decided to follow to demand that the British government does actually tell us the extent of migrant crime, the extent of particularly asylum seekers' crime. We've tried as a programme, as a channel, to talk to the government, to talk to the Home Office, to ask for these figures. And we're being told that under FOIs, it's too expensive to process that data.
Nigel, I used to be the Foreign Office's parliamentary clerk. It's a wheeze. It's a ruse, frankly. Of course they can do it. They've got the information. They've got the data. There's absolutely no reason why we shouldn't know. And guess what? Some 30 years ago, the Tory government then, I think it was 30 years ago, they actually published the number of traffic offences by diplomats.
Really?
So it's nothing new, it's nothing impossible. The data are collected, and as they're collected, they could just as easily put them into...
Because we deserve to know the truth. We deserve to know the truth. There is no doubt in my mind that the increase in a variety of types of crime in London, and I can't speak so much for the other cities around the country, it is obvious to me that these are foreign gangs coming in, masterminding much of this crime.
Yeah, of course, because they can.
Richard Pickings.
It's easy money, exactly.
Yeah.
People come in here, they've been rejected elsewhere, they've tried and failed to get in France, in Germany. They will come here because they know they come here, they can stay, and even if they commit crimes, the fact is that they're never going to be removed. As often as not, we end up looking after them, housing them.
Yeah.
What are we going to do with all those that are going to come in this year? 50, 60,000. They are going to be housed, clothed, kept warm, given pocket money.
It should be a big iPhones, new iPhones. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
Dental care, don't forget that. We could go on.
We could go
This
on.
is a big open goal for the Labour Party, isn't it? The government really in trouble with many of its own voters on this issue. Labour pretty quiet on this.
Well, that's my worry, actually, because if the polls are to be believed, the next government is going to be a Labour government. And frankly, with regard to legal and illegal, and we mustn't forget legal migration, which is massive.
Enormous, yeah.
The Labour Party, with regard to illegals, all it's going to mean is that we're going to have more coming here rather than fewer people coming in. And I'm afraid we're also going to have huge increases in the number of people coming here legally, not forgetting that in 2022 it was 745,000.
I know. Alp Mehmet, as ever, thank you.